I would do whatever I could, whatever to be the best actor. And so even in high school at an early age, getting involved, I dedicated everything. I spent every day in the auditorium. I wouldn't just watch movies just to be entertained. I'd watch them, and I would study the acting, and I just went to the next level at a very young age, learning to want to be the best, and then I would try to hang around the people that were better than me, who actually were having roles and stuff like that, and learn from them. And right around when I was 17, I won my first best performance award, and then I went to a Shakespearean acting school. I was sold that this is my life, to be an actor, and I could have an entire community stand up and clap for me, right? Whereas the real life, it was completely opposite of that. So yeah, I hung on to it, I clinged on to it, and I went full steam ahead with it.
Tell us how you came into meeting Jesus.
There was this girl, and I decided to follow her home, and she lived really close to the high school, and I had money in my pocket, which was rare, and I had an agenda, and my agenda was to go buy some alcohol and hopefully party with her. And I just kept bugging her to let's do something tonight. This was a Friday, and so she kept diverting the question and changing the subject, and then she'd invite me to her youth group for that night. I didn't want anything to do with that because I had what I wanted, and then eventually my cousin ended up coming over to join us at her house. So he came over, and she kept bugging me to go to youth group, and I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with this. And it wasn't because I was afraid of God or didn't believe, because I did believe. It was just the thought that there was new people, unknown people that I don't know. All of a sudden I'd become vulnerable if I'm around people I don't know. So with that, it freaked me out. I was so grumpy, and we ended up going to the church, and I remember walking in there and going, why are there soft pews? I've never seen soft pews before. It's always been hard wooden ones, right? And I'm and they're bright orange, and and the just the funny colors from the 70s and 60s, and then there was this rock band playing, and they're playing kind of this rock and roll music, but I'm I've never seen that at church before. I'm where's the hymnals? Where's the organ lady? And I'm just thinking the cliche old school type traditional church stuff. And and then they went on with the service, playing their songs, and they preached, and they did this altar call, and what I remember specifically about the day is that I remember watching them jump and dance, all these youth jump and dance, but it wasn't the jumping and dancing, it was their faces. There was something about their faces that was different. Something about their faces that actually said they were happy. But it was different. I couldn't even explain it. It wasn't just because they're happy. There was this joy, right? This joy on them, the way they carried themselves, and this peace that was about them, and I'm man, I don't know what it is, but I want whatever it is that they have, but I'm scared to find out what that is or how to get that, And so even with altar calls, I didn't respond to the altar call because of fear, and just didn't want to go up and look vulnerable, right? Then I got invited to snow camp to go to Cranbrook, BC, and so I went there, and it was an amazing weekend, full of youth, and the same bands, and great speaking, and then the preacher spoke, and he said, and the message was, look fear in the eye and tell it to go away. And so he does an altar call, and I remember standing up, and I started walking, and I was in the back with all the bad kids, and because I was still 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? So I was still okay with the familiar, let's be naughty together and joke around and not take things serious, but I so badly wanted, and then it was it took me over. The Lord took me over, and I was I always call it I was a puppet, and he was the puppet master, and all of a sudden I'm I'm walking, and I remember them looking up at me and going, "Where are you going?" And I looked down at them and I said, "I don't know." That's exactly what I said. "I don't know where I'm going." And I walked and I went down the aisle, and then I realized that I'm at the altar.
And you're responding to the altar call.
I'm responding to the altar call, yeah. Like, consciously and subconsciously. It was just enough was enough. It's time to go all in, right? But then I realized, oh, everyone can see me. And so now I'm Jamie, vulnerable Jamie, right? And then I fall down on flat on my face, and then the preacher comes and puts his hand on me, and he just starts praying, and then I felt other hands on me, and then I just started wailing and bawling my eyes out, and I didn't know what was going on, and I was there for a good half an hour, just at the altar. I just remember standing up and everything was different. Everything was louder, everything was like brighter, everything was like clearer, lighter, like and like the weight was gone, and everything changed. And even before that, even every second word I would say was a swear word. I was just aware when I was saying it around all the Christians, right? But instantly it stopped, and it wasn't like a conscious thing, but just my language changed. So that was a weekend. I go back to high school the next day, and people literally didn't know who I was. Like
what do you mean?
Well, my physical appearance changed. Like, really? My countenance changed. Like, people didn't even know I was like a new kid at school. And then I sounded different too, right?
You talk about having this call of God into the film and entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Explain what you mean by that.
So right from an early age, before I was saved, the whole acting thing, and I could control people, their emotions, and then I saw a couple movies, and it actually physically hurt me that I wasn't a part of it, because I wanted to be a part of that so bad. And so that was when I made the decision when I was around 17 as well, that I want to be a filmmaker. I want to tell the story. Once I got saved, I wanted to go to Rosebud Theater School, right? But the Lord actually said, He actually spoke to me, and he told me to go to Western Pentecostal Bible College, and I didn't want to. I was like, no, I want to go here, right? My flesh wants here, and the Spirit's telling me to go there, but the conviction was so strong, I had to go to Bible college. So I went to Bible college for 2 years, and when I was done that, I felt God say, go into the industry now, and so I went into the industry. I just worked regular industry. Started at the bottom as a production assistant and worked my way up to writing, producing, directing. Won awards for best international film as a producer and things like that. And so I started getting like this reputation. But around that, for all those years working in film, I saw the byproduct, what was going on. I saw all the divorces, the suicides, the drug addictions, and the orgies, and the lawlessness. It was just an all-time height I've never seen before in my life. In the midst of working 20-hour days, it's happening right there on set. There's workers. I promote the industry. I'm all for the industry. I would never bash the industry, and that's that's never what I come across. What I'm trying to come across as, I'm an advocate to the industry to help it make it better.
Now, as you're in that today, fulfilling that call of God in your life, let me ask you one final question.
Sure.
It's kind of a question where Jamie can dream. It's, God said to Jamie, I'll give you Hollywood.
Yeah.
What would you do?
If God gave me Hollywood, I don't want to sound cliche or have this come across as a false humility, whatever, but if God were giving me Hollywood, I would give it back to Him. That would be the best way I can describe it.
Jamie, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story.
Thank you.